This is Around the Town, and I'm your co-host, Tom Byrne.
I'm Barbara Byrne, and today our guest is John Cioffredi of the Rutland Parks and Recreation Department. Good morning.
Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Tell us something about your job in the Rutland Parks and
Recreation Department? Well, as you know, it's the Recreation and Parks Department, and we are primarily responsible to conduct leisure time services for the community and to develop facilities and to expand our park program. And primarily, this is a part of city government, and this is our primary responsibility. We work with all age groups from the preschool youngster on up until our senior citizens.
Tell us about some of the different recreation facilities you do have.
Well, Rutland, I believe, is kind of fortunate in the facilities that we do have for a community this size. In the 26 years that we've been in Rutland, we've seen a steady growth. And most people are familiar with the Recreation Center, which is on Center Street, which, by the way, is sort of an antiquated building, and we might be able to talk a little bit more about that later on. The swimming pool down White Memorial Park is part of our operation. We have the facility at White, which includes the swimming pool, a Little League softball field, 5 tennis courts, and 2 basketball courts. Up at Rotary Field, we have 4 tennis courts, a basketball court, and a lighted softball field, as well as a play area. At all our facilities, we do have a play area for different age groups to use apparatus equipment. Then at Meadow Street is another one of our facilities that includes 3 tennis courts and 2 basketball courts, which are lighted, an adventure playground, and 2 softball fields. Giorgetti Park, which is in the northwest section of town, has a large regulation baseball field as well as a softball field. It's also the area which includes our skating rink, Giorgetti skating rink, and it has approximately over 280-some acres of woodland in the back, which is used for hiking and nature studies and activities of that nature. And the Senior Citizen Center, which is up on Deer Street, which sits on 3 acres of land. It's a modernized center, which is used for our seniors, and it has a special park built on that property also. So and included in the Recreation Department is the Center Street Alley. That's part of our operation. Main Street Park and Depot Park right here downtown. That's our responsibility. Plus all the traffic islands that have flowers and shrubs on it. That comes under our jurisdiction. So we have quite a lot of work in park maintenance also, as you can see.
Yes. And the parks always look lovely.
Thank you very much. We're proud of them.
You should be.
I grew up in Rutland, and Barbara and I moved back here 3 years ago, and we marvel at the condition of the parks. They're in wonderful condition compared to what we'd seen in other communities.
Well,
the people in Rutland should be proud of them.
Well, it's very kind to say that, and the people that work for us do take pride in what they do, and I think it reflects in the kind of work that's put out.
It does.
There's certainly been a change. When I was young, the only recreation areas we had was the Main Street Park, the swimming pool up on North Main Street, and I believe St. Peter's Field, and up off of North Street, one of the old Lions Club, or
that's now known as Rotary Field.
The Rotary Club. That was the extent of the recreation facilities, and the kids down in the lower end of town didn't have any swimming facilities, and they had to walk all the way up to North Main Street, and many of them, I know, didn't come up because for one reason or another, I think some of them didn't think they belonged up there. Of course, they could have used the pool, but they didn't.
Well, that's one of the things we've worked on since we've been in Rutland, to break down some of these barriers. It's nice to have neighborhood facilities, but we wanted to be sure that everybody realized the facilities are for the total community, and you shouldn't be just locked into your neighborhood. But Rutland, I think, has a fine history going way back. I've always been recreation orientated, even if it wasn't organized. The community always provided some type of recreation for citizenry, and I think that's a credit to the community.
It certainly is.
Because in the wintertime, most everyone's slid down Kendall Avenue Hill.
Well, Mr. Perkins, who was my first chairman when I came here, used to tell me stories about the old-time recreation and the things that went on in Rutland, and how he relayed how he used to be a playground leader. And I run into a lot of people that been involved in recreation here in the community, one form or another, as a volunteer or what have you.
Well, back in those days, the Rotary Club had a skating rink where the tennis courts are now.
Yes, I've been informed about that, and the Rotary Club was very active and instrumental in fostering recreation, and the facility up at Rotary Field has been a result of their involvement.
Well, we even had such nice things as music while we were skating, going back to maybe 1930.
Well, yes.
Which in those days was quite unusual.
That's right. And speaking about music, of course, Rutland has the oldest municipal band in the country.
That's true, and that's under your...
Well, the band is funded through our department, but it's really a separate entity, but it's still a municipal band, and they do have their concerts in Main Street Park, and that's one of our bragging rights.
Right.
You should have to
They're
brag about it.
They do an outstanding job, Jerry Byrne and his group.
What other things would you like to talk about today?
Well, we are building a new complex up at Northeast, the 2 softball fields, which will be a great addition to our overall program, and that has been done with the cooperation of our Rutland Softball Association. Has been very helpful in working with us on that project. One of the biggest problems we have, one of the things that we need to address ourselves to, is the need for a new community center. I think we're at that stage now when we've done as many things as we can possibly do.
You've outgrown it.
Well, we've outgrown it, but the facility technically never was geared as a community center. And but the time has come now that because of federal regulations, we will not be able to use for instance, the second, third floors or the basement unless it becomes accessible to the handicap. And with an old building, to put in an elevator and make those kind of drastic changes financially won't be feasible.
Right.
It would be ridiculous to ask the community to fund such projects. That money would be better off used in a more modernized facility, which would be more advantageous to us, and we could certainly fulfill much more the needs that we would like to fulfill in that area. So we're hoping eventually to be able to present before the community a new recreation center that they could express opinions on.
There certainly is a need for more outlets for young people today. Back when I was a kid, the young people had more things to do. Maybe they had family chores, or they had they do something in their daily life that took up some time and energy. Today, the children don't have anything to do, so they need more outlets to get rid of some of the energy that they have in them. And a good community center, it seems to me, would be a help.
A good community center certainly would be a help. Back, we want to see the old days, but back several
the old days.
The family was more the center of recreation, even through necessity or what have you. The family operated more as a unit, working together. Times weren't as prosperous as they have been, and so everyone had to work and contribute. So work became more of a recreational outlet.
Right.
The young people today do have a lot of things, and they are involved in a lot of things. They're involved in a lot of civic projects. They're very quick to get involved in fundraising for different charities. I know they have the MS Dance-a-thon up to high school, and the MSJ students are actually involved in during Christmas time and certain other holidays, collecting food for the needy. So they are involved, but I think they have a lot of things to be involved in between
Yeah.
the school activities, their personal activities, and with the recreation department. It's a matter of choice, and it's they're kept pretty well busy though.
I think the young people are always willing to volunteer when someone else offers them the opportunity to volunteer. Is there anything being done to help the young people create their own programs?
Well, I can't speak for what the schools do, but I'm sure there are outlets. We at the department have tried several times to organize a teen council or different groups of teens to express their interest in what they want. Some years they're more successful than others. But we had to try to remember, too, that the young people are, to get them on school nights sometimes is not the wisest thing because of school commitments. There are a lot of things going on. Either they're playing athletics or they're in some drama club or something. So we tried to limit what goes on in the evening during the school week with that in mind.
You mentioned arriving here 26 years ago. Where did you go to school?
I went to the State University of New York at Cortland, and that's my alma mater.
And did you play an athletic team there?
Before I went in service, I went to school on a scholarship, football scholarship. But when the war came along, I dropped out of school, went in service, and when I came back, started school at Cortland. I was married, had a family at that time, and so I had to work besides going to school, and it was an enjoyable time. So I didn't have the luxury of participating when I got back out of service. I did a lot of officiating, which was a means of supplementing our income.
Your income, right.
With the GI Bill, yes.
Tell us about the Halloween parade.
Well, we're very proud of the Halloween parade. When I came to Rutland 26 years ago, one of the things that we did was to start our first parade, and it was quite an interesting parade. We had two bands, Rutland High School and MSJ, and had all the youngsters meet at Main Street Park, and we had Mayor Healy at that time riding a Jeep. He was in a Jeep, and I was in a Jeep, and we had a little Gasper the Ghost, who at that time was, I believe, my 3-year-old son. I know it was my son, but I don't know quite
which one.
And we marched down Center Street Hill, down Merchants Row, and up Washington Street. And what we lost going down Center Street Hill, we missed going up Washington. So that was our first adventure. But we were encouraged by the response of the community. And so we kept adding to the parade, changed the route, and the parade started to grow. And Batman was our original parade, and he became sort of our marshal, so to speak.
Trademark?
Yeah, and Batman was the inspiration of Tom Fagan, who was very active with people in the comic book industry, and through his efforts, we were able to secure a lot of comic book characters who came into our parade, and they were very popular. As the years progressed, because the parade was held on Halloween night, a lot of them couldn't make the long trips from the cities that they were at, and so the parade had taken on the characteristic that you now know it.
Yes.
And it culminated with the parade last Thursday, which I am pleased to say and proud to say had a lot of local participation in it, a lot of local floats, a lot of local organizations, and I have to truthfully say that it was perhaps, in our opinion, perhaps the best parade that we've put on, and I think the indications by phone calls have indicated that. And so we're pleased to see the community getting involved.
That's wonderful.
Well, my guess is that it's probably one of the finest parades in the country.
Well,
Of that type.
It is a unique situation. We do receive many phone calls weeks preceding the parade from people who like to come and watch it. We get calls from Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine, come from all just to watch the parade. And we've had people participate in as far away as England come in being a parade. And Sandy Garner wrote several articles which appeared in Yankee Magazine and Vermont Life, which helped expose the parade. The parade's been on television. We've had a great deal of exposure. It does create a lot of excitement, and it's Rutland is now identified with the parade.
Well, that must make you feel good, since you're the one that originated it.
Well, anything that makes Rutland looks good makes us happy.
What other things would you like to talk about the Recreation and Park Department?
Well, just to encourage people to participate in the programs. If at any time people have ideas or suggestions, we'd like to hear about it, because our job and responsibility is to serve the needs of the community, and the best served when the community lets us know the types of things that they're interested in. It's very helpful. We like to know the good things as well as the criticism. If they feel things aren't the way they should be, we like to hear that too. We can't improve or correct if we don't know.
What kind of recreation do you have?
Well, we run everything from like I say, from the preschool youngsters to the senior citizens, which includes arts and crafts, includes athletic programs, culture programs, educational programs, musical programs, you name it. We've done it in one form or another. And a lot of stuff that we do, we have done, is now done up at the Votech School in adult education, and so each year becomes a challenge, and a lot of people are duplicating a lot of things that we've done, and we have to keep coming up with new ideas. And again, our best source is the community itself, the people, and what they request from us.
In other words, you started a program, and it's been taken over by the school department and.
No, some activities that we may have run that they now pick up, and we do a lot with computers. We ran a computer camp, computer programs. Now the Votech does an outstanding job with it, so we dropped out of that area. That would be just one example of some of the things I'm referring to there.
So you're doing a lot of originating.
Yes. We pride ourselves on doing the unusual. Now we've had flying lessons. We've had we sponsor programs in hang gliding. We do a lot of rock climbing, mountain climbing. We probably drive our insurance carrier bananas. I think any activity, in order to be worthwhile, must be challenging. It must have some element of risk or danger to it. Otherwise, people don't get involved.
Right.
We just can't play patty cake all day long.
That's true.
I'm curious about Giorgetti Park.
Yes.
The name Giorgetti, I don't recall. Is that a local name?
It's local in this sense. John Giorgetti is a fellow who has lived in Rutland for a good number of years, now lives in Pittsfield. There's Giorgetti Development up Giorgetti Avenue in the
off of Stratton Road.
And he was a member of one of the state boards in Montpelier, and John was very instrumental in getting us the 44 acres of land in the back of Pine Hill. That was the only open land that is on that property, if you're familiar with the property, because most of it is all hill. It's just that ledge with all the trees in it. It's a wooded area. And the land originally, I believe, belonged to the correctional department. They used to have a farm back there, from what the old-timers tell me. And John was very instrumental in getting that land for us for $1. And as a result, we were able to develop that facility, and the city, showing their appreciation, named the facility after John.
I can remember when I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, going up on Pine Hill to see a hermit that lived up there. In the morning, we went up on a Saturday morning, and it had snowed the night before, and there was a little shack up there, and the door was open, and he was asleep, and he had a blanket about 4 or 5 inches of snow over the top of the blanket, and we woke him up, and he had a beard and talked to us for a while, and we thought that was great.
Several years ago, we had some, what I call them poachers. People were living up at Pine Hill, and one particular individual lived in a big teepee. He built his own teepee, but of course, living on city property, I guess he had to get out and had to take his teepee down. So periodically, people do go up there. A lot of youngsters go up there and improvise their own play. It's an ideal situation. I think there are very few communities in the country that have that kind of land within the city limits.
That's true.
And we want to keep it in its natural environment. We don't want to develop that into any kind of a commercial product, but leave it as nature intended. If you were a youngster going, you probably remember the old stone crusher up there. And that's always been a special project of ours. We hope someday that we can develop that particular area into an amphitheater, because it has a natural backdrop as an amphitheater, if someday we can get the roads modernized to go up there.
What is the stone crusher? I don't know anything about it.
Well, it must have been a stone quarry of some sort where they crush stone for building materials.
Yes, they use them primarily on the roads, and it was a ledge, and by cutting back the ledge, they have a natural backdrop. The ledge goes rising up
Natural
high.
amphitheater.
That's right, and it would make a nice place for an amphitheater. Of course, and the vistas overlooking the city is just fantastic. Just fantastic.
Oh, I believe
so that's a secret desire of ours. Eventually, when the timing's right and maybe some angel comes into our lap, we can develop that.
With a little bit of money, huh?
A little bit of money, quite a bit of money.
Do you have any ideas where a recreation center could be located?
Well, that's a very good question. It's a question asked quite a bit. All the land that the city has under our jurisdiction has been developed. That's been a major problem. We've never had a large enough chunk of area to develop the facility the way we wanted to develop them. So we've used everything that's available to us. The only land that we have left that we could develop on would be up Giorgetti Park. So that would probably be one of the spots, one of the sites considered, unless someone donates something. So the site for where we would put a new community center is not settled yet. But what we would like to do is come up with a detailed plan, a scale model of a center, and a cost estimate to build that center, then show the public what it would be. I think then they would have a better understanding of what you're talking about. It's most difficult to ask them to fund something that they can't visualize or don't know what it's going to cost them. So it's very important that we come up with a site design and some kind of plans. And the mayor has appointed a citizens committee to work with us on that, and we hope within the next few months we will be in a position to bring forth some information to you.
Do you have any, what do you want in the line of recreation area?
Community center? Well, one of the main problems that we were talking before, that we have enough adequate space to provide for the needs that people are now demanding. For instance, let's talk about our volleyball program. You know, we started with just a few teams. Now we have a men's league, a women's league, and we have a co-ed league, and we have divisions among those leagues. And we have to limit the amount of teams we could take because of the only space we have available to us is at the recreation center. And I believe we're playing volleyball at least 3 and 4 nights a week. Now that doesn't give other people an opportunity to use that gymnasium for other activities. Monday nights we have square dance in there. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we have volleyball. Fridays is left open for informal play. And then Saturday and we even go operate Sunday to move in some other activities. And it's true with our basketball program. We can't play an organized basketball league there because there is no time. So we have to use the public high school. And of course we're limited when we can get into that facility because of their own ongoing school activities. So again, we're limited to that activity. But what it does, and the problem is this, that if you're not on an organized team and you want to play basketball or volleyball, for instance, it's very difficult for you to get a place to play.
Right.
And I think we have to provide an opportunity for those who don't want to be on an organized team to get some kind of physical activity.
You mean, in other words, for people that want to just get up a game and
That's
play.
right, the informal game.
Well, we used to rent the Rutland Armory for 75 cents an hour, a big pool of money. And
if I could do it for 75 cents an hour, I'd book it up. I'd book it right up. And that was true with our softball program. That's why we had to go to the 2 new fields. You know, we went from a few teams to about 70 teams. And what we do is create monsters for ourselves. We start out an activity, everybody's happy and enjoying themselves, but then their skill level improves. They want to go to a higher classification. More people want to play. Then we can't provide the facility, and then sometimes they don't quite understand and get upset with us and think we don't want to allow them, and that's certainly not the case.
John, old man time has caught up with us. We're running out of time here.
Well, in closing, I would just like to publicly thank the cable TV for what they do for us by putting a lot of our programs on the air, and also for the ads they give us.
Thank you for coming down, John. This has been Around the Town.